Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. The two are interchangeable. Now, you will see I have with me, it's been a while, hasn't it, Tanya? It's been a while
Yes, it
since our
has.
last collaboration, but I'm so happy to see you again. I mean, it had, when did we last collaborate? It must have been at least a year.
It,
Maybe it must be at least a year since I think we were last on the same channel. I think you hosted me, and this evening I'm being able to return the compliment. So, how have you been? How are things? What's happened since I last saw you? So you don't have to recount the whole year, but obviously it would have been quite a bit. So how are you doing?
I am doing wonderful. I had a very eventful last year, as
Really?
most of the people in the spiritual community know. I was assaulted. I'm an avid biker, and I was assaulted while I was biking, and I got put in the hospital for about
What?
15 days. Yeah. Oh yes. I got severely beat up. Um, but it's like everything happens for a reason. And throughout that whole process, it was a whole, like, because I had severe injuries. I had severe head injury. um,
What?
yes, and my little dog was in my back, in a backpack on my back when this happened, so she was a part of it too. So it was it was it was a wild year. But
Wow.
not only did I survive that, um, I grew. I grew spiritually. I grew as a person. I matured. Because I had to
Wow.
learn how to. I was on a cane. I mean, I went from the walker to the cane, from complete bed. They wouldn't even let me sit up by myself. I had a bad head injury, so, and a eye injury. He left. I got a scar for the rest of my life, and that's the only mark that I have
Hmm.
left from that um, assault. But you can't even see it, so it's all good.
Astonishing. Well, I mean, well, first of all, I'm so sorry to hear that happened to you. No one ever wants that, and especially, something, violent and as horrible as that sounds. But it seems like you've been able to find that, the spiritual, perhaps the spiritual meaning, message behind it, because you look radiant. I'm looking at you now, and you look radiant.
Thank you, thank you. Not
Wow.
bad for an old broad. I am 58 years old.
Wow, you are shining. Shining. No, you really are. You are shining. And wow, and with what grace as well to be able to, take these challenges. I'll share something actually. Maybe not as severe as you, but once upon a time, years ago now, I was actually attacked by a set of neighbors of mine. They were drunk and drug addicted, etc., and stuff like that. And it wasn't a bloody attack or anything, but still they invaded my property, and I had to get them out, etc. And eventually, they were evicted. They ended up leaving of their own free will. But that experience was also a part of my spiritual development as well. We're not saying everyone that you need to have a violent attack to have spiritual growth, of course, but it was. I realized what it did was it took me into another place and scenario, and I was staying with friends and stuff like that, and that's when really I really got much deeper into my Vedic astrology actually. And I quickly realized after a few days, really energetically what the attack was about, particularly as well as I was just starting my Uranus opposition at the time, which is famous for stuff like this, like unexpected events, but that lead to some kind of revelation or spiritual breakthrough, and stuff like that. So I can relate a little bit, but not as obviously as difficult as you've had, but good for you that you've regrouped and you've come back even stronger, which is excellent,
Thank you.
Okay. So we have some questions. We've got some questions that are in. And of course, we'll be pulling our tarot cards and everything like that, everyone. And just so you know, everyone as well, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share and click the bell notification. And if you would also, if you're new to Tea Time with Tanya, her channel is in the video description as well, so you can subscribe to her if you've not done so already. I see many of your followers are all actually here as well, because I can see the little paperclip. There's a little paperclip symbol, folks, in the chat. Whenever there's a paperclip, that's someone who's their viewers have come on to the host channel. So thank you as well to the followers of Tanya for joining us this evening as well. Much appreciated, and I hope you like the show. All right. So are you ready for the first question?
I am.
Now, this is an interesting one. I get some fascinating questions. So listen to this. So this is coming from Nick Minks. And she's asked a few questions, and I'm also going to weave in one or two that we weren't able to answer on Hogili as well, which everyone knows happens on the Saturdays. So this is a very interesting one. Just saw this today. So it says Russia link suspected in Eiffel Tower coffin mystery. Right? First I'm hearing of this. Literally, I'm just reading it now. 3 men were arrested after 5 coffins were dumped by the Eiffel Tower. Oh my goodness. Another has been arrested after bomb-making materials were found. The question is Russia actively encouraging attacks in France in retaliation for Macron's stance on Ukraine? And with the Olympics starting, are they planning a major disruption to coincide? Now, I'm actually going to be going to the Paris Olympics. It wasn't a plan of mine. My friends are going, and then one thing led to the other. So I'm actually going to be going to the Paris Olympics. We can just take the train from London. But isn't that an interesting question?
My goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to ask this. Oh my goodness.
Very juicy. I'll shuffle my
imposters in here. Here you go. You two get out of there.
I mean, that's quite something, isn't it?
So is Russia staging an attack? That's the question, basically.
Really? Yeah, it is.
Oh my goodness! Yes.
The 3 men were arrested after 5 coffins were dumped by the Eiffel Tower. Oh my goodness! Very macabre.
Okay. And you know what? Where we are with all of this nonsense with the protests and what's going on in the Middle East and all these distractions. Ooh, I got a yes.
Wow. Yeah. What? So a yes to Russia, kind of.
To Russia staging an attack.
Wow. Wow.
And then the second card I got is the devil.
Wow. Wow. I mean, that certainly would suggest something, wouldn't it? What did you just pick just the 2 cards, or?
I only picked the 2 cards.
Right. Wow. Well, I mean, that seems pretty conclusive, doesn't it? I mean, when we're asking questions like this and the devil turns up, it's kind of, in a way, that kind of confirms quite a lot of things, doesn't it? All right. Well, I'll read the cards that I've got. These here, these are quite complex, or the meaning here is quite subtle. So the question is, is maybe Russia planning to, disrupt the Paris Olympics, or is this a kind of like a revenge or a reprisal to Macron for supporting Ukraine? So these are the cards that I've got. So if we look here, we have got the 9 of Cups. Now, this is a very interesting card. Sometimes this card is known as the Smug Merchant, but it is a card that is associated with wish fulfillment. Wish fulfillment. So if we're talking about, Russia, then we could also be talking about Putinshka. Yeah. So maybe it is Putin's wish to maybe interfere. Yeah. And of course, Paris is going to be hosting the Olympics. The whole eyes of the world are going to be on Paris. That's kind of, it's going to make more of an impact, isn't it? Gosh, I hope nothing happens. But that seems to concur with your card, because this is also known as a yes card. We see here in the second position, which can often be known as the obstacle position, here we've got the Page of Wands, and pages are all about messages. But the Page of Wands in particular is often known as the orator. So it's almost like someone is trying to send a message, a very strong message. I mean, if you think, it's not like 5 coffins that were found in the suburbs of France. They were put by the Eiffel Tower. So this is a statement piece. So someone is definitely making a statement piece. I mean, that's not discreet, is it? The middle card is interesting as well, because if we see here, it's the 6 of Pentacles. And this, if you see here, here's the wealthy merchant. And of course, here are the 2 sort of like paupers down here receiving funds. So this can talk about what? Supporting others with funds. Could this be Russia's reaction to Macron's support of Ukraine? Yeah, the story is starting to build here. If we look at the next card here, we've got the 9 of Wands. And of course, this could actually even represent the energy of Ukraine feeling embattled, trying to come through the crisis. But this could also as well be talking about maybe how Putin is feeling right now, because of course, all of these extra funds are coming in, and he obviously wanted this campaign to be over quickly, but it's turned into a much more of a struggle than he would like. And maybe this is why he's trying to punish France for their contribution. Do you see? But then ultimately here we've got the 8 of Cups, which is about, walking away, etc. So what this suggests to me is that the security in Paris is going to be very, very high. Yeah. Very, very high. It's going to be very difficult to pull off some kind of major attack. Maybe this is why they've done it now, or it's not even an attack. It's a strong statement, as it were. And it's so. I mean, what does this mean? Is Russia doing this because maybe they may have to leave Ukraine? Could that be the case? Is the struggle becoming maybe a little bit too much, perhaps? What else? What do you read into that, Tanya? What do you want to add to that?
I love your cards. But first thing I want to say is I feel like what Russia is trying to do, first of all, before the Olympics start, is to humiliate. This is like to humiliate Macron, not France, to specifically humiliate Macron. So, and then the other cards kind of, he knows he's not going to be able to do anything big. So I think that last card was he's going to do all of this before, just make a mess of things and then just toddle off. Then just throw his hands off, turn around and walk away.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like throwing in a stink bomb and then going, yeah. That makes sense with that, because you can see, like, with the cards that I got, there wasn't like a tower, and there wasn't like the death card, or there wasn't the chariot, which would imply, a big movement or a big shock or surprise. It just looked like someone that was, feeling tired, embattled, and you could see that money, that exchange of that exchange of funds. So I think it's a statement piece, really, isn't it? More than anything, making this statement to be like, I'm not pleased with your support. I'm just letting you know that, showing his displeasure. Wow. All right, let's see who has joined us. who has joined us here this evening. So let's see. So we've got here Bernie Girl is here. I'll just click up. Hopefully, it is a political question day. I do like to hear updates. Yes, you know, we mainly do politics here. Someone is saying Winnie Boo is saying Putin is trying to intimidate France. Yes, that's what that would suggest. Here, hey pancakes, my beautiful soul. So I think some people also saying hello to each other as well in the chat. Let's see here. Asterix, Hoagie, don't go to the Olympics. It's already booked, you know. It's already booked. My whole thing is this, you know. My whole thing is this, is like whatever's meant to be is meant to be. And normally if things are going to go down, I get dreams about it. You know, I get known things in advance. So, you know, I'm going to go. If I get blown up on the train or whatever, then whatever. Do you know what I mean? I've got no regrets. I live my life with a pure heart. You know,
Hey,
what else?
live
What
every
else?
day like it's your last day. Otherwise, you are wasting your whole life because you
Indeed.
never know. You could slip in the
Never
shower.
know.
Live. Don't ever be in fear. Live, because
Indeed.
that fear that you have is just to stop you from something great. So, live. Whatever. Que sera, sera. And that's for real.
Yeah, no, it's true. It really is my philosophy. But I thank you though for your concern, the person that wrote that. But I'm going. Yeah, come hell or high water. I'm going.
No
Okay.
stopping.
Indeed.
The
Are
world
you
is
ready for
going to
the
keep on
next
spinning.
question? Indeed. Are you ready for the next question? All right. Now this is an interesting one. This is an interesting one. So we're going from Paris, and now we're going to Hunter Biden. So, the question is: jury selection for Hunter Biden trial has highlighted how prevalent drug abuse is within many American families and the disruption and heartbreak it brings. This is very true. Do the cards show if this drug epidemic can ever be successfully tackled? Great question. Great question.
You know, what's interesting to me right now is that, and it's a little off topic, but it's still on topic at the same time, that we were just told that they could put out fires with a sound machine. That literally they could point this microphone at a fire without water, without nothing, and completely extinguish a fire. That everything in our human body can be rectified by frequency and sound and vibration. And that there are a certain group of people who have all of this knowledge. And the people who find it out generically always kind of get disappeared. So it's like there's already, and I think we're coming into this age now because this is everybody's kind of knowing things and understanding more. The people who want to be ignorant are ignorant, and that's a choice. But everybody else is like, hey, this doesn't make sense. And I think a lot with healthcare, I think people are really coming to realize that sound, vibration, frequencies, what they call the old hoodoo magic, really worked. And that's why they shut it down and called it hoodoo and witchcraft and this and that. I'm sorry, I got off topic.
Well, not to worry, but that was a good tangent. And just to reiterate the question again, so the jury selection for Hunter Biden trial has highlighted how prevalent drug abuse is within many American families and the disruption and heartbreak it brings. Do the cards show if this drug epidemic can ever be successfully tackled? So let me know what cards you get for that.
Okay, here we go. It was a segue. Huh?
Oh no, good
And
one. And you're absolutely right. Actually, I was talking with a client yesterday, looking at her chart, and I could see in her chart the things that could help her. I won't go into details of what was going on with her health wise, but I could see with her chart and the way her aura in a way was constructed that energy work was the best thing for her. For some people, in fact, for some people, only energy work will actually work on them.
I think we have to come to the realization that the reason that we have drug problems is because they really were. They were put in neighborhoods. People were made addicted.
Yep.
You guys in Europe and England, your rules are so much better, so much more stringent. You don't get like Sprite and Skittles, which is poison, and then they just let us feed it freely to our children, and it's illegal in its American form in Europe because of the chemicals they use. So going back to the drug addiction, I think, yeah, it could be cured, but the entity that wants it to stay in place would have to be dismantled before it could really be cured, because there's too much money in addiction. There's too much money in in pharmaceuticals. And that's what it all boils down to. The more people, I mean, look at who went to jail for people getting addicted to oxycodone. Who really went to prison for addicting the world? They got a slap on the wrist and they're still selling that stuff.
Wow. Wow. So what cards did you get then? What cards did you
I
get?
got a maybe. The first card I got is maybe. The only way that it can be fixed is the institution has to be destroyed. This is deceit, lies, trickery. How do people, the whole thing about drug addiction? America don't grow a whole lot of drugs. Cocaine comes from Colombia. Heroin comes from Saudi Arabia, Iran over there. This stuff has to be brought in. The kid on the corner in the ghetto ain't got no pay, ain't got no airplane. So this is being brought in by the rich to enslave the poor. So until we destroy the mechanism, we can't destroy the problem, because the rich are going to keep bringing it in to keep the poor paying. Wow. It's all about money.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Was it just the one card, or
no?
Or
I drew three. I drew three, but that was the answer. The second one is, now this is the people themselves, and this is a good card, because the individuals who choose to be sober will be sober, and that's a fact. When you decide I don't want this anymore, you can stop, but nobody can stop you. It has to be you. No program, no 12 steps, no nothing. Until your higher self says, yes, I'm ready, nothing is going to happen. So, and this is the thing, and I believe this is part of the awakening too. People coming together, helping each other, but at the end, it's people doing it themselves, people doing it by themselves, people defeating their demons. So yes, people, it can be done, but the institution must be destroyed first. I mean, the drugs don't come in the country by themselves. The little kid on the corner don't get it out of wherever by itself.
True. Right. Well, the cards that I've got very interesting cards here. So, of course, and we're also as well looking in the context of, Hunter Biden, etc., and stuff like that. And things, just for me to give a little segue, I've done it before, but I think it's worth doing again. I've spoken it. I can actually see the drug problem in America's chart. In the Declaration of Independence chart, I can actually see the drug issues with, to do with where Saturn and Neptune sit, where the moon sits, etc. Maybe at some point I'll do another video again, just so that people can understand, particularly for new subscribers and stuff like that, how that is actually built into America's chart in its current form. So I just thought I'd add that little bit there. Okay, so the drug situation, Hunter Biden highlighting the issues for American families. So the first card that I get here is the Two of Swords. Now, what are twos all about? They're all about making choices, making decisions. But the Two of Swords is interesting because everyone will notice that there is a blindfold here. So what the Two of Swords also implies, it implies a decision that someone or something doesn't necessarily want to make, or their eyes are blindfolded to the truth that they don't want to face. So I think some of those truths that people don't want to face are what you were talking about, Tanya, as well, which is the bigger infrastructures that are in place that are keeping this holding pattern there. But also as well, we also need to get to the root causes of why so many people want to take drugs in the first place. We need to talk, of course, about mental health issues, need to talk about despair, need to talk about food, diet, income, economics, because no child just wakes up and goes, I'm going to do drugs today. Yeah, there are things, it's part of it's self-medication. It's part of a way of escape, or a way to cope, People often reach for these things, and like I said, it is in the American Constitution chart. But anyway, so they're not wanting to face certain things. What's interesting, in the obstacle position, we have the Emperor. Now, the Emperor actually deals with institutions, patriarchy, big power structures, and it's showing up in the obstacle position. So again, this is echoing just exactly what Tanya was saying. This is dealing with the rich and the powerful. This is obviously cartels, of course, what would be there. But this is the elder statesman who is also prepared for war. But this can also talk about senior officials, public officials. This is powerful patriarchy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In the obstacle position.
Cocaine Mitch for nothing.
Oh, really? Oh my God. Oh, for entertainment purposes only, folks. For entertainment
purposes. For entertainment purposes, but that's a written fact. That's a known fact. That is his real nickname. Mitch McConnell's real nickname is Cocaine Mitch.
Wow.
Oh, you didn't know?
No.
Back in the I think it was the 70s or 80s, his wife's father's shipping company got busted shipping a whole bunch of cocaine into the United States. And it wasn't just cocaine, but yeah, this is exactly what he got. And he didn't even didn't lose a day in Congress.
Well, look at that, because I didn't know that. But you see, I just said what I saw. Wow, wow, my goodness. If we look here we have the King of Swords. So this deals with the legalities, etc. In the middle. This is the anchoring card here. So what this suggests to me, when I start to put this together, not wanting to face a decision or being deliberately not wanting to see, in regards to things to do with patriarchy that seem to have quite a lot of influence over the laws, rules, and regulations. So it seems like the smaller people are the one that get persecuted, but maybe not the bigger fish. Mm-hmm. But if we look here, look, it's all about what? Families, values. Yeah, it's talking about families and it's talking about values. And then the outcome card here, unfortunately, if we see, look here, it's the Tower. So what this suggests to me, really, even though it's a 5-card spread, I think it's actually saying two things. The first 3 cards are talking about the issue not being fully properly tackled, particularly as terms of policy and stuff like that, for various reasons, maybe because it makes a lot of money. The issue is to do with patriarchal power and people wanting those systems to stay in place. And maybe they're using elements of the law, or maybe the law is overlooking them because of their power. but we see here it's affecting families, and it has been this devastating outcome. So I think it actually boils down to what you were saying. It's like the institutions that are maybe in the background supporting all of this, they need to have that tower moment needs to happen for them. So it's almost like the tower has to fall first of these structures in order for the liberation and freedom of families. Wow, interesting that, isn't it? Interesting.
Yes,
Wow.
it is.
All right, so let's cross that one off. So we've done that. Let's see. Let's see who else is in the chat who's joined us, and then we'll go for another question. So who's this? So Reese is saying, I'm from Tanya's channel. I just popped over to say hi and hit the like. Oh, and I'm a subscriber to Hogarth as well. Enjoy the show. Oh, thank you. That's very, very kind of you. Let's see here. Hello, Patricia. People saying hello to each other. Lily Rose is saying, hello, Hogarth and Tanya. Lovely photograph there, Lily. And let's see. Oh, yes. Good question here. So Mildred said, how they get the coffins up there unnoticed. I've got no idea, because many of my, when I'm answering questions, they're cold reads. So I was just found out the story at the same time you did. So I don't know. Do you have an insight on that, Tanya? Do you get a hit?
No, well, no, I don't get a hit on it. I just want to make it a little observation. And I would really like to know if they were just coffins or if they were like the shells. Were there bodies in there, or were they just,
I think she said, oh, that's true. Wait, it says 3 men were arrested after 5 coffins were dumped. So they wouldn't be arrested, I would imagine, if the coffins were empty. That wouldn't make sense, would it? Oh,
but
right.
Still, it would be a terroristic act to dump coffins in front of a
You're right.
public place like that.
You're right. You're right. Because it is inciting terror. So
yeah,
it doesn't.
because, I mean, nobody's gonna know unless somebody goes and opens the box if there's a body in it or not. It could be a pig, a dog,
Let's have a look. I'm gonna Google it. Okay, so coffins in Paris. Coffins in Paris. Here we so here we are. BBC News, Guardian. Look, there's a bit more here. Let's dig in, because you made a very good observation. So here we are, just so everyone can see. This is the Guardian, folks, UK well-known publication. Yeah, there's the story here. Russian interference suspected after coffins draped with the tricolour placed at Eiffel Tower. 3 men charged after 5 coffins inscribed with French soldiers in Ukraine were left at Tower. So it says French police are investigating whether the placing of 5 full-sized coffins covered with the French tricolour at the Eiffel Tower at the weekend was another act of Russian interference. So 3 men were formally put under investigation on Monday, the equivalent of being charged in connection with the coffins, each of which was inscribed with French soldiers in Ukraine. Oh, and look, there's a picture. So I don't think there were bodies in them. I think this is looking like it's more of a political statement. The inscription is believed to be a reference to the French president Emmanuel Macron raising the possibility of sending Western troops to Ukraine, a suggestion Moscow has described as dangerous. So I won't read any more from there. Right. There you are. So thanks for asking that question. So obviously there were no bodies in the coffins, but they were inscribed and they were draped with the French flag. Thank you. Good. We got that clarification there. Okay, so are you ready for the next question?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this one's come in, or shall I actually do? Let's see. You know what? Let's do. There's one that came in last week. I didn't have time to ask, and I think you'll find this question interesting. So this is from my Hogarth just gone, but there wasn't time to ask the question. So space debris from SpaceX Dragon capsule crashed on a hiking trail in North Carolina mountains. With the increase of private space exploration, is the likelihood of debris hitting more popular areas going to become an increasing problem? Interesting question, eh?
Aren't there like drills for that already? Isn't that one of the
There should
drills
be.
that they do because of falling debris? I know here in the United States, I don't know if it was in California or somewhere, but a piece of something fell on somebody's house.
Wow.
In Europe, they said it was a meteorite, but it fell right through the roof and hit that poor lady in her, I think in her thigh or in her hand or something. Yeah. So there's an increase in people literally getting hit by falling debris.
God, because you know what? It's a good question, because from what I understand now, obviously SpaceX, as we know, is connected with Elon Musk and stuff like that. But from what I understand, his satellites orbit far lower. Because what would normally happen is the satellites that are basically beyond the Earth's atmosphere, when they come in, if they fall out of orbit, for example, they would normally burn up. But if the debris is able to fall, it means they're in the lower altitudes of shall we say, the lower stratosphere, as it were.
It's a plane
And
crash.
that's the way it could fall and crash. Wow.
It's a plane crash. And that's the whole thing, because you can see the Starlink train, and it has grown. Oh my goodness. Have you seen it lately?
What, the Starlink what?
The Starlink train, the satellite train.
No. I know they fly very low. What does it look like now? Wow.
Oh my goodness. When it started, when I first saw it, it was probably about 20 satellites long, and that was pretty big. That thing has got to be 40 to 50 satellites long. When you can look at it and actually just, take a seat and watch it go by. It's so long. And nobody questions what happens when one breaks. What happens when one is decommissioned or space debris hits one of them?
Wow.
I'm sorry. I apologize in advance. I am not an Elon fan. I think that man is a menace to society.
Yeah, questionable. I've done his archetypes, and I wouldn't say he's completely evil. And he's certainly had a very traumatic and very, very difficult childhood, and a very difficult father as well. But I think collectively, what I would say, the culture needs to change, where we need to stop putting these billionaires on pedestals where they can just do whatever they want. But I don't want to prejudge. I've already pulled my cards. What cards do you have, Tanya, in regards to this question with SpaceX and falling debris?
Will there be more falling debris?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I gotta know. But I don't know. In my heart, because I just know that I feel we've put so much out there. It's one of those things that's almost inevitable. That's like saying you're not going to spill your cup of tea, ever again in the rest of your life. So I gotta kind of, and I don't like questioning my tarot at all, but I gotta question this one and it's the haste card. So I think it's more of, let's not be too hasty in judging everything. Maybe they've got some fixes in. Hopefully they do. But I'm not going to trust Elon to do anything right after that Cybertruck. I'm sorry, my bias is showing. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Wow. Not to worry. So I'll just get some more comments in. So Jamie Rodriguez says, "Hi Tanya, you look beautiful, honey. Was the man who hurt you arrested?" Oh, I certainly
He was.
hope so.
He was arrested. I need to call and see if he's been convicted yet. My year anniversary is actually coming up.
Wow.
So this happened on the 30th of June last year. So
Right.
yeah, he was arrested. And what's funny, and I'm not profiling anyone, but he was a Ukrainian. And I was like, I mean, and I mean, this man tried to kill me, and he didn't know me from Adam. And it's like, why? But like I said, in the end, it was for a reason. I learned things, I grew. A whole lot of different things evolved from that. So he wasn't.
Right. Well, that's good to know. And someone else says here, Carmen Everall says, Hogarth, surround yourself and your friends with protective light and the highest vibration everywhere you go. Yes, I do. And I'm not invincible, but let's just say there's a lot of protection from those guys upstairs, because if I get taken out, who's going to be talking about the planets, and the sidereal astrology and what their true nature is? So they want me to stick around for a while, folks, but you never know. I mean, the whole Paris could just sink into a giant hole. You never know. But I think I'm good. But thank you. I will remember that. Okay, so look, these are the cards that I've got, and then we'll look at some more comments before we move to the next question. So the question, of course, was space debris, etc., and stuff like that. Will it keep falling? Well, look at this, my first card. 7 of Swords. Yeah, so look, someone's trying to get away with something. So, yes, so look, it's like yes and no, no and yes. I think yes, there will be more that will fall. But if it does fall, if it doesn't make the news or the headlines, we just won't know about it. Yeah. Because if it falls in the middle of Utah or in the middle of the Russian steppe or something like that, no one's going to care, whatever. What they're talking about is urban areas. So basically, if it does fall, we're not going to know about it unless it's a big headline. And this also shows as well, maybe someone's cutting corners, etc. Look at this. This is very interesting. Look what's in my obstacle position again.
That emperor.
Back again. So again, this is talking about what? Like I said,
it is
institutions, patriarchy, power. Now, what's very interesting is with Elon Musk's chart, he has a very strong affinity with Mars. This is a Martian card, and we know that's where he wants to fly. Remember, his big ambition is to what? Fly to Mars. And here, so this is literally representing Elon, but also as well, this is, I think, also talking about the billionaire class as well, and the amount of clout and influence that they actually have. If we look here, though, we do see a victory card here in the middle. So, I think Elon is going to continue to succeed with his space program, because guess what? He's put up so many satellites now that world governments need him. They need him more than they can get rid of him. So really, this power, it's led to a victory, because he's just got so many. I think he launches, isn't it like 10 a week or something like? It doesn't even make the news.
It's folks. Ridiculous.
Tons. So there's a victory there. And then if we look here, we've got the 6 of Cups. This is actually talking about the past. This is talking about nostalgia, strangely enough. I think this is more I think this, again, this is Elon's energy coming in here, because when I examined his chart and his archetypes, there is a certain nostalgia that he has. I think he was very, like many people were, inspired by, the moon landings and all of this kind of stuff. I think movies from his childhood, where he dreams of doing his big frontier thing. And I think it's about going to Mars, but it shows that it's coming from this. It's a very deep feeling within him connected with childhood. why he does this. And look, if we look, we've got the Empress card as the outcome. So this will only expand, folks. It will only expand and go forward further. I also associate this card with Russia. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he's necessarily in cahoots with Russia, but this is my Russia card. But this is also wealth, abundance, expansion, and opportunity. So will there be some crashes? Yes, but we're not going to hear about them. But overall, if you look at these cards for Elon, those are fabulous cards. So no one's stopping him anytime soon, folks.
And he's just going to become more and more powerful. I think the one thing that we don't question enough is wildfires. How many wildfires may have been caused by falling space debris? Literally. I mean, it's still hot when it hits the ground. And they can just write it off as, oh, we don't know why, because nobody's looking for a little piece of metal.
That is a very good point, because, you know, even stray shards of glass are enough to start a fire because they magnify the rays of the sun. That's a very good point, actually. And Winnie Boo is actually, I love that, Winnie Boo, has said Rudy Giuliani defended the pharmaceutical company who made oxycodone. Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Gosh.
Look at that. Now, my nickname for Giuliani is, I call him Dr. Dribblehead. Yeah, do you remember? Do you remember with the hair dye? I mean, look, for me, the whole stop the steal thing should have just ended right there. Anyone that was still supporting, when you've got the guy who's literally dripping hair dye.
And that wasn't even the worst thing that he did. He's a creep. He's creepy.
Funny world that we're in, isn't it? Funny world that we're in. So thanks for that question. I think that was a really intriguing question, actually, with the space debris. All right, next one in. Now this is a Joe Biden question. So Biden border plan attacked by Republican rivals. It's not popular with the Dems either, but Biden said that Republicans refused to support the bipartisan bill previously proposed, which is true. We know that they refused to support it. Will the red border states actually enact this, or will they continue to create more havoc to serve their cause? So from what I understand, maybe you can update me, Tanya, I think, didn't Joe Biden just sign an executive order on border control? Is that correct?
I do. Yes, I've read on that today. He closed the borders.
Wow.
Well, or the border. One, not both.
Right. Interesting. Closed, you say?
Closed.
Well.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay. So let's read on that then. So I'll just reiterate. So Biden border plan attacked by Republican rivals. It is not popular with the Dems either, but Biden said that the Republicans refused to support the bipartisan bill previously proposed. Will the red border states actually enact this, or will they continue to create more havoc to serve their cause? So let's see if the red border states will enact it. I'm sure they will. Isn't that what they've been asking for?
But the whole thing is they want what they want until they get what they want, and then they don't want it anymore. And that is their MO, because they just have to be at opposition with Biden on everything. And especially now, because old Donnie Dump Trump is on his I didn't do anything apology tour. He's got all of his minions lined up behind him. So Biden just gave the Republicans everything they wanted. Everything they wanted. Close the border. Nobody comes in. Watch them not be satisfied with it.
Well, because they don't. It seems like they wouldn't want to acknowledge it because they don't want to give. What's that you have there?
Yep. The
Five of Pentacles.
Five of
Wow.
Pentacles. They will not be satisfied because if they agree, they can't. And that's the whole thing. They have to be at opposition with everything. If anything is bipartisan, they face the venom of MTG. And it's like it's a race to the bottom. I don't understand the strategy. It's like they're trying to lose in the grandest way possible, but to cause a civil war doing it. It makes no sense to me. It really makes no sense. And the more people that jump on the bandwagon, it just blows my mind the level of idiocracy that is, I mean, it's before our eyes right now. We see the stupid and they breed.
Interesting. All right, so these are the cards that I've got, and this is, as you guys saw, you see, I shuffle the cards thoroughly, and I keep getting these repeat cards. So look at this. All right, the border, will they comply, etc. The Six of Cups comes back. You know what I mean? Literally, you saw it was there for Elon Musk. Now it's back. Now it's back again. So what does this card talk about? This card talks about nostalgia. Primarily, it's nostalgia. And we were asking about the Republican or red states, but in the wider context of the GOP. So really what this is about, and tying in with what you're saying, Tanya, with this sense of dissatisfaction, I think it's because they have this nostalgia. They want things to go back to when they felt they were all powerful. Everyone knew their place, you know. Certain people were in the fields and certain people were barefoot and pregnant and all that stuff. No contraception, you know. Everyone was sort of held back. But we can see they're longing for this. This is where they're not happy, because they it's like you're saying, they want the house to burn down so that they can be like, we can save it, don't you worry, we're going to make everything all right, we're going to turn the clock back. Why else would we get this card talking about the Republicans? Yeah, so there we are. However, look what's in the obstacle position. Oops, the sun. Yeah, which means full illumination. Full illumination, disclosure, etc. So what the sense I get is, yes, some are drawn into the nostalgia for the past that never really quite existed, or the one that did exist, it certainly didn't benefit everyone. And I think people recognize this. They understand what the game is. When the GOP are talking about making things great again or whatever, I think a lot of people are going, yes, but for who? For who? Yeah, because the illumination, the awareness is turning up in the obstacle position. So it's like awareness is interfering with the nostalgia, the message of nostalgia. If we look here in terms of what are the individual states going to do, this is now a quandary. Because of course what they would have wanted is for the borders to stay open, etc. So then they could just say, look, Biden has just left the borders open and blah blah blah, only we can fix it. But now it seems he's closed them by executive order. So this has now caused what? A headache, a nightmare, because one of their key platforms has, like we call it in the UK, we say when someone has cooked your goose. Yeah. When you look here as well, this is very interesting. Look at the last two cards. Someone got their wish fulfillment. Yeah, look, we see the wish fulfillment card is back. But look, King of Cups, Biden. This is my Biden card. So you see, Biden got his wish because he put forward the executive order, much to his personal satisfaction. But you could also argue, technically on paper, the GOP got their wish as well, but they're not happy about it. Just like you said. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Because what it does is it's thrown light on the whole situation, but what they really want is a nostalgia, a time that doesn't exist anymore.
And only did in somebody's fantasy. It never really existed.
Yeah.
I mean, that moment when men found it okay to spank their wives, and that was a thing in a magazine. Oh, those days are not coming back. Those days are not gonna ever come back.
Indeed, indeed. So that is this is fascinating, isn't it? So let's see. Let's squeeze one more in. The time has gone so quickly. Let's see here. Let me just dig out one from Hogarth that I wasn't able to do before. Oh, this is a good opportunity. All right. So this question came in from Wild Wisdom Journeys. So I'd read you the question, but there's a section, it goes into 3 parts. So it says, always delightful collaboration, Hogarth. Thanks for sharing your gifts. I'm curious about the global energetic response to the newly convicted felon, Donald Trump. So perhaps a 1-card pull for each of my 3-part questions, but we'll just pick one and just pull our normal cards. So this is about the Donald Trump conviction. What do people in countries other than America and Russia and China think or feel about Donald Trump now being a convicted felon? And then one was, what do people in China think about it? What do people in Russia think about it? But let's tackle the first one. What do people in countries other than America and Russia think about Donald Trump being convicted and maybe America as a whole? That's a good one, isn't it? Let's have a look. And then maybe we can look at, do 1-card pull for Russia and China.
Okay.
What does the world think of the whole Donald Trump debacle and America as a result? Very good question.
I've got mine. Can I go ahead and read it?
Go for it.
Okay. I get the star card. And this, besides the sun, is one of Donald's cards. So I feel like for the rest, for places other than America, what they feel is this is more of that spotlight just remaining on the Donald. Nothing has changed. He has just been convicted of a crime. He has not spent 1 second in jail. He has still not faced one consequence other than having to sit in a cold courtroom for 7 weeks. That is the worst that has happened to him. So I feel like the rest of the world is just like, yeah, he's still getting all this recognition and fame. He's getting all this free press. He doesn't have to campaign. The mainstream media is doing it for him.
That's what I said the other day. I can't remember which show it was now, but I said exactly the same. I said he doesn't even have to campaign because he turns the court case and everything into reality TV. He goes out in front of the press and they report. Listen, since Trump was kicked off Twitter, I know more now about Duck Larange, his thoughts, his policies, his every waking breath since he was kicked off Twitter, because the media has now become his main mouthpiece. Now, look, don't get me wrong. Look, I don't want people to feel like I'm being completely critical of the US media and all of this stuff like this. And obviously people will watch different things. They're MSNBCs, they're CNN, they're Foxes, whatever you watch. But the point is, I think we can all agree it is free publicity. The more the media follow every word he says, the more free campaigning he gets. He doesn't even have to raise funds anymore. He gets the funds from the little mums and pops because he's not having to do any ad spend.
Nope.
Because he just stands up in front of court, and that becomes his whole platform for his policies. And the media, what I'm seeing now, I'm sure you've seen this, Tanya, sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 panelists all discussing every single word that Trump has said for like 15, 20 minutes or a half-hour show. And it's like, come on, is he the only thing that's going on in the world? It's for me, it's too much. And I think your card is spot on because I get that for him as well.
Think about this, though. This is exactly where we were in 2016 with Donald. He has the exact same amount of press. Good, you know what they say, all press is good press.
Yes.
It don't matter if they're spitting at him, which some people were. He is still faced out
Front
there,
and center.
and the whole thing. Can I just interject one thing? I'm sorry, I don't want to say break the show, but Trump is saying he wants all these powers, the power to be able to jail his opponent, his political opponent. He's got this before the Supreme Court. Why hasn't Joe Biden says, hey, I agree with him. I'm president. Give me this power so I can put this fool in jail. You know, nobody's playing that. I mean, come on, this isn't chess. This is hopscotch. And we're failing at that. I mean, if we can't call an idiot out on what he's saying, he's got this before the Supreme Court saying that the president, the sitting president, should have these powers, that would apply to Joe Biden. Why isn't Joe all over that?
Right.
It would scare the heck out of Republicans, wouldn't it?
It's a good point. So I'll read my cards. I'll read my cards and how the time has flown. So how is America viewed by the rest of the world, particularly since this conviction? So if we look here, we get the 10 of wands here, 10 of wands. So people are looking, going like, this is hard work. Yeah, this is hard work. This is a tough time for America, because irrespective of what you think of Donald Trump or not, the fact that there is this ignominious situation where you have a former president who has been formally charged in this most public way, it's never a good look on the world stage. So remember, this is, the cards are saying how the rest of the world is viewing the situation. Also as well, I think this is also talking about diplomatic relations with America. And from what I understand, Europe is also very worried as well, because Europe is one of the main allies of America. And of course, Trump becoming president, God forbid, but if he did, it would make their jobs a lot harder as well. This is also about hard work, graft, but it being done inefficiently, being done in a chaotic way. The man could bundle up the rods and put them on his shoulder. Here you can see it's loose, discombobulated. So this also means as well, people are worried about the general configuration of America and how coherent it is. In the next card, in the obstacle position here, we have the Queen of Cups. Normally a very pleasant, creative card, but when we're talking about politics, we notice here, look, she's got the lid here. There's the secrets here. Now, this is actually very pertinent because, of course, one of the cases against Trump, of course, is, of course, the leaked document with the documents, you know, the Mar-a-Lago, all of this stuff. What this suggests to me, though, is that maybe internationally, allies are wondering, can America keep her secrets? Yeah? Can she keep her secrets with Donald Trump in the White House? Yeah, it's a major question, because when you've got documents stacked up to the ceiling in your toilet, and some people were making the foolish argument saying, well, the door locked from the inside. What? Yeah, you really think Donald Trump is going to sit inside his toilet with the classified documents saying, they're all safe, folks, I'm locked in here with them? Come on. No, people are starting to question, can America keep its secrets at all? Yeah, it's the obstacle position. However, they're looking on. And they are looking on at the wealth and prosperity of America. So America is still seen as a powerful, wealthy ally. Yeah, there is still that element there. And it's still basically seen as prosperous and has plenty of opportunity. But if we look here as well, this is also interesting because the Six of Pentacles also returns. Literally, I feel like I've only pulled 15 cards the whole night. But if we look here, in this context, this is interesting. So what this says to me is, I think they would worry about America funding NATO. Yeah, because remember, Duc Larange has said, made it quite clear that he's not prepared to fund NATO. Yeah, so this... Yes, so we see here, it looks like this Europe may feel like it may need to go begging if Duc Larange is in power, or if America kind of disintegrates a bit. Do you know what I mean? And then the outcome card is the Two of Pentacles, which is about wanting to juggle things. And you know, trying to steady the ship. So what this says to me is that the world is looking on and they're wondering how the balance of power is going to be. They're asking question marks about the future of America and its stability should Duc Larange get back into power. And of course, he's having a destabilizing effect. So I think the world is kind of looking on with some concern. Final thoughts on that, Tanya?
I think you're right. But like I said with mine, they're looking on. He's still got his bright stars shining right on his head. So nothing's changed. Absolutely nothing. This is the biggest soap opera on the planet right now. The aliens must be having a ball with it.
I think even they've got their popcorn on this one. They're probably like, we ain't seen this in 100,000 years. Do you know what I mean? It's like, wow. Very, very interesting. But Tanya, can you believe how quickly the time has gone? Our hour has passed already.
It is gone. Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. It was a pleasure, and we will do this again. And it was not going to take a year this time. We will do this again. I loved your insights, your perspective, and you know, those extra tidbits, those extra bits that you brought there was very, very interesting as well, seeing your perspective on that, particularly when we were talking about, you know, the situation with addiction and stuff like that, and how our cards were echoing. Mine was the longer story, but you had the concise, you know, those main kind of points there. Very, very interesting. So I really appreciate your contribution. And again, if you are new to the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If Tanya's channel is new to you, then her channel is in the video description of this video, so you can click on her and subscribe there as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. You'll see me tomorrow for my Thursday fry-up, of course. Thank you to everyone who joined us here as well. Those that are subscribers and those who are new, thank you, and you will see you soon, and we will do this again sooner, folks. Thanks so much, Tanya. Mwah! Big love.
Thank you.
A pleasure.